old Nintendo gamer.
And son.
So moving on to my game of the week, and it was a game I mentioned last week that I had started playing and hadn't put enough time in. I put a bit more time in it, or quite a bit of time especially, into Pure Pool this week. I'll quickly go through the game modes on offer. It is a pool game. It has got snooker on there as well. They've basically got a quick game online. You go online, but you can have a list of players on there. All the players that are playing right now, and they're all got green icons next to them, like a little green bar to say this person's online. And then you can click on a button to say, hey, I'll send you a challenge. Most of the time, that's never going to be accepted. They're probably either playing in a different mode or whatever. They don't want to accept a challenge. I've tried a few times. I've accepted some challenges that have come into me out of courtesy. I thought, right, let's play this game. And I've been hammered by the rank 46th in the world and stuff like that. But overall, I have been loving the way the game feels. So you can also create a game and play leagues with your friends. You can add friends to your list, and then you just click on them basically and say, hey, Nick, you want to join my league? And I send you a request. You request it, and then we play through a set number of modes or games that we choose. And there's also practice mode. So the games you can be playing are 8-ball. So that's the classic American 8-ball rules. Stripes and, this is pool now, obviously, stripes and spots, and then pot the black ball to finish off. Then they've got the black ball mode, which is the UK pool rules, which basically changes the foul system. So if you do foul, you get the full 2 free shots after it. In American black 8-ball, you only get the 1 free shot, so you don't get the second one. They've also got the American 9-ball, which I'm not a fan of. The career mode in 9-ball is very difficult after clearing up 8 of the balls and then only to see, miss the last shot and have the opponent, AI opponent, just pot the last ball and win is quite frustrating. But they have snooker as well, a full career mode in that as well, and you can practice your heart's content. Killer, which is you got to pot a ball. If you don't pot a ball, you lose a life. You start with three to 5 lives, depending on how many you choose. And if I pot a ball, then it moves over to Nick. He's got to try and pot a ball, and you're trying to snooker people while on a pool table, while hoping that they don't pot the ball while you do. An accumulator, you have to pot as many as you can, as fast as you can. So there's all those kind of little different games which you can set up. As for the control on the table itself, if you're playing in handheld, you have an on-screen cue which you can slide with your finger. So it's flick down, pull down, and flick up, and then the cue speed and how fast you do it, but also how far away you are from the ball affects the type of shot you do. Yes, you can add spin and all that, and quite frankly, the feeling of the touchscreen isn't quite there. I much prefer using the R stick, and that's your only 2 options. There's no old school kind of remember you used to have to press the button to choose how hard you hit it and all that, like a golf swing on old golf games. There's nothing like that there. So just like using the touchscreen, you pull back on the right analog stick and then push forward on the right analog stick to follow through. So the speed you do it and how far you move back as well is on the Joy-Con is not quite there. The Joy-Con just can't do it. But on the Pro Controller, I quite like the feel of it. It feels smooth. You feel in control of it. Yes, there are times when you're going, right, I'm just going to get snooker in behind here, and you've hit it a bit too hard, or you've hit it soft and you've missed the ball completely. But that's down to, I believe, the player's fault of not getting enough practice into weighting the ball properly. What makes weighting the ball a little bit more difficult is that there's a difference in balance between the cue power between snooker and pool. The pool table obviously being so small that you can do a full shot, full power on that, and you will, I'd say, your white ball, if it's hitting nothing, could travel like 3 lengths of the table. Now on snooker, yes, you could do that 3 lengths of the table, but of course the snooker table is double the length. So you've got to be very careful on the snooker table when you're potting something a little bit closer, because the amount of power you put into a shot is reflected in you have a total, your extra amount of power is much greatly increased due to the size of the table. So flicking between those kind of snooker and pool modes is a little bit jarring after, the first couple of shots is a little bit jarring. After you've played a few shots, it kind of becomes more intuitive. So that it plays like a game of snooker and pool, You've got 3 difficulty modes. Amateur, it puts a white line down from your white ball through to the ball you're going to hit, and the line of trajectory where the hit ball is going to end up. So it makes potting things on a pool table very easy. If you have got a slight semblance of positioning of the white ball and using the spin, which feels really good as well, putting a backspin on all that and watching the backspin kick in at the perfect time. They've really done some mastery with the physics of pool balls and snooker balls in this game. Really nice. So clearing up on a pool table can be very, very easy in amateur. So then you go on to the next mode, which is, I forgot what they're called now, Pro, and then there's Master is the difficult one. Master, those lines are non-existent. Pro, there's one line, and your where the hit ball is going, trajectory where it's going to be shot at is greatly reduced. So I've been loving this game. I'm going to try and keep this short. I have been loving it. It is snooker, it is pool, and I've been dropping in and out offline, challenging Clown Ferret and Dazzy B to a few games now and again. Won some, lost some. Clown Ferret has rage quit. It's all the fun of the game. What it does do, it does really well. However, as the other side of the coin, there are some niggles. The frame rate isn't as smooth as the trailer suggested. Now, when you're looking around the table and you're lining up your shot, the frame rate's perfect. You can swing around the camera, left and right, perfect. But when you actually play that shot, and it's far more noticeable on the snooker table because of the extra increased length of the table, the increased width and everything. Because of that extra width, you can see some frame issues. There's now and again there's a frame dropped, and there's a bit of a jerky. It's not all the time, but it is evident there, which isn't so much of an issue really when you're playing snooker, as long as when you're hitting the ball it feels smooth, and it does. That's fine by me. So there's a little bit of a frame rate issue. Pool less so, but the other issue is the camera angles. It's got this really weird camera. You got 2 choices of camera, basically. It's either when it's your turn, you're prone, basically, bending over the table, looking down the cue, so you can see your end of your cue and where your ball is going. Your white ball is the trajectory of your white ball in this line. So as you move the camera around, you rotate 360 there, and fortunately your player will move his hand up if there's a ball obscuring or whatever. You'll get into position perfectly. What's not good is it leaves the camera really flat to the table. And so you have to manipulate the angle of where you hit the ball, like putting the cue up into the air to look over a ball towards a pocket that might be obscured by the ball you want to pocket, to see if you're getting that trajectory correct. So there's camera issues like that, but it's also really weird in that in other snooker games I've played, you can change the position of where the camera is, what ball it's on. For example, you can choose the white ball and see like you can in this game, but you could choose, I want to look at the angle from that red ball, which you could do with your own eyes on a snooker table. That's not an option. So you're forced into this second camera, which rotates around the table, and you can never just get the right angle that you need, because you kind of, it's as if you stood up, basically. They could call it the stand. So you press Y to go into this secondary camera mode, and it's called stand. So it's like you just stood up, so you're further away from the table. Now I want to see a red ball down the other end of the snooker table, so I can rotate the entire table around to look at that, and then I've got to lower the camera down to see if the angle is right. Can I just sneak that red ball past the black ball there? And it's so unintuitive. It's just been made so much easier by saying, I want the camera fixed onto the red ball. but it doesn't do it, unfortunately. So at first I thought it was because they're trying to make long potting a little bit more difficult as it is in real life and giving you a bit more challenge. But it's a limitation of the game, this is. And what kind of leads from that is because of the way that you are lowered angle when you're taking a shot. Say you're snookered behind the ball, or you're trying, for example, double a ball into, hit the ball onto a cushion and then off the cushion into a pocket behind you. You can't see the pocket on camera. So you'll go into the stand in position to kind of get your angle right, which you can't because you haven't got the trajectory line now on the white ball. Then you go back down onto the white ball and your trajectory line has changed because it's stuck to the camera, the standing camera, and then you got to realign the ball again. And so anything that requires you to hit a ball behind you or get out of a snooker that, for example, you want to come off the cushion and hit a ball that's behind the camera, you can't see it at all. You're blind. And that's the biggest letdown, is the camera. Otherwise, the feeling of the game is pretty much spot on for what I want from a pool and snooker game. It's just that camera, damn. And they're never going to patch that because it's a 2014 game and they're happy with the way the game is, apparently. Do you have any thoughts on what I said there, boys?
The camera is 100% the biggest problem. And I can't believe it's an issue. I don't know why they wouldn't have implemented it in the way that you said. Like you say, when you're trying to stand up to get a higher view to line up your shot and you're raising the cue up, when you're bringing it back down again, there's every chance you're going to just nudge it left or right a tiny wee bit and completely knock your line off. But like you said, I got Snooker 19 earlier in the year on Switch, and it also did not have the option of properly getting a good angle of where you stand and looking at the balls. And I couldn't believe that it was a feature in that. And when I picked up Pure Pool earlier in the week there on PS4, it's why can I not choose that red just to see if it can go into the pocket or whatever? It just seemed really unbelievable. And I put on World Snooker Championship on the PS1, the first one, the other night, just because I'm sure that's a feature in that. And of course looked at a ball I wanted to pot and was able to press L1 and it focused on that ball and I was able to look around and see, it does make it past the pink or whatever. Just, it's such a simple thing and I just do not understand why it's not there. And I do have other problems with the game as well. I'm not sure if this is a problem with the game itself or if my TV settings aren't right, but the pool table is the way it is, and I feel like there's a light up above the center of the table. The corners where the pockets are just seem to be really dark, so it can be really hard to actually tell where the pocket is. And you can change the color of the table, which does help sometimes. I have to put it on pink or yellow to really to be able to see where the pockets are in the corners, because if I don't, you're kind of guessing half the time. So I don't know.
I don't think I've had that issue, but I immediately changed the beige to red on the pool table. I don't know why red seemed to sit with me, and the corners, especially on the snooker table, and you think it'd be even, further away, they lit up pretty well on the snooker table, that's for sure. Yeah,
I imagine most of the problem is maybe whatever settings I have for my TV, but I don't really want to change them just for this one game. But I have been on Google and I've seen a few people mention that problem as well, so I'm not on my own there. The other thing that feels a wee bit odd to me is actually the playing snooker on it, because you're using a pool cue to play the snooker, and that feels really odd because pool cues are a good bit thicker than a snooker cue would be, so it just doesn't feel quite right. And then the menu design and stuff feels really cheap, like a mobile game or something. And that that's not important I would guess, but it kind of feels like it cheapens the experience a wee bit, and it makes it feel like an inferior product in some way.
I find the menu quite unintuitive as well. It's very difficult to find what you need. It's like, all right, I want to, for example, I go, right, I want a quick game against an AI level of amateur, and I want to play snooker, and I want to play 3 frames. Just to set that up and to find where I need to go into on the menu to how to set that up, it's a minefield.
Yeah. To be fair, I've only played it for 45 minutes, so maybe it will grow on me. Like, the thing that did interest me the most was using the analog stick to move the cue, because I remember I had Virtual Pool 64 back at the time, and I thought it was actually pretty decent at the time. So I did, like, in Snooker 19, you use the analog stick as well to use the cue, but it's different in that way because you set there is a power bar, like traditionally, you know, so you set where, like, how hard you want to hit it, and then all you're doing with the analog stick is, like, you're pulling it back, and then the power bar goes up while you're holding it, and then you just have to flick it forward whenever it reaches the power you want to hit. So it's definitely different in that way. So I do kind of like the feeling of that, and the way the balls like screw back and stuff. It does feel good. So I probably will dip into it now and again, because it's the sort of game you can just sort of throw on for 5 minutes, have a wee game and see how it goes. And obviously you have those additional objectives for each match as well, like whether it's potting like 3 balls in a row or potting from a certain distance or whatever.
Yeah, something I didn't say, the career mode gives you these extra stars, and the more stars you unlock by doing these additional objectives within each game, you can then unlock a new tournament. So the career mode seems extensive if not, you're not going to be winning any championships or anything with it, and lifting a trophy at the end by the looks of it.
Yeah. So yeah, like before I got it, I did have my reservations, but I wasn't really thinking about buying it really. But then I did have a wee bit of leftover money from buying The Last of Us last week, and like the Pure Pool plus Snooker was about $3.70 something on the PlayStation Store. So I thought, yeah, why not? I'll give it a go and see how it is. But to be honest, I've been pretty disappointed by it so far, unfortunately.
One thing I forgot to say as well is I've had problems with the friends list. I can see you, Nick, and you're on Steam, I believe. You have the game on Steam. Yeah. So you're there on my friends list. If I want to play Dazzy B or Clown Ferret, I've got to go into the all players list. And they're at the bottom of the all players list. It's like, well, I don't understand why they're not coming on to my friends list, but you are on a different platform. It's really weird.
That is really weird, because the online's not working for me. I can't get online on it for some reason.
You've got a red bar next to you saying you're offline, but your avatar and your name is there. And if I wanted to, I could download something the game allows you to play, is download DNA. So basically every time you play, it takes statistics of how you played and how well you played, and then updates it to your ranking and your rating, and then it uploads that as like Lee's DNA, and you can download that and then play me offline.
Oh wow, I didn't know that.
So I have the option to download your DNA and play 3 matches.
I need to get the online started on this. I've never really played a snooker or a pool game before, so I've been absolutely loving this. I think the physics are absolutely amazing. I'm genuinely surprised by how good it is. I haven't even tried to change the camera, so I don't have that complaint. I've just been lining up shots and taking them. I think that on PC at least, smooth as butter, 60 frames a second. Graphics are absolutely stunning. It looks so nice. The music's great. The jazz soundtrack, it's such a relaxing game to play. And the career mode is extremely extensive. There are hundreds of different things you can do in the career mode. So I've just been burying time into that, basically. I've spent about 3 or 4 hours in the amateur pool 8s and the amateur snooker tournament, just playing people and doing the challenges and having a good time. I'm really enjoying this game a lot, and it was about the same price on Steam as it is on PS4. I got the pool and snooker DLC. It was like £3, I think. So yeah, very very good. I agree completely.
Do you play with a controller?
Yeah, I use the Xbox controller.
I'm just wondering how it would work with
it.
The mouse.
Feels fantastic. It feels really good, but the menus are, I agree, it's a mobile game. It's absolutely shocking. The menu system is really poor, but the actual game itself, the content is there, and the The graphics, the physics, the music, it's a nice experience, a really solid game in my opinion.
Personally, I'm going to be playing it for quite some time.
Mm-hmm.
I'm really enjoying just dipping into it,
me too.
something, and I'm trying to work my way through the amateur snooker tournaments, and then hopefully get good enough to get onto the next one and reduce the kind of the lines on the screen, the helpers.
Yeah, I think it's a shame that I won't be able to play you guys, but at the same time, I think I would have felt much worse if I'd actually spent the tenner on getting it on the Switch, given my reservations about it so far.
Thanks for watching, and don't forget to hit the subscribe button and give us a like if you've enjoyed our content. You can also check out our other great content on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and the N-E Café podcast from all good podcast providers. Just follow the links in the description below.